They thought humans were gentle. They thought we only ate plants. They thought we were harmless, until one man opened his lunchbox. The smell, the sight, the truth, raw, bloody. Meat in the middle of the alien council hall. Every eye turned, every hand froze, and in that moment, they realized something terrifying. Thatma Begajantokchela. Tatsalashli. 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 Yah will know. You think you know humans? You think they are peaceful, gentle, safe to trust. But what if everything you believed was wrong? What if the quiet man sitting at the council table was hiding a truth older than your world? And what if the moment he opened his lunchbox, your entire idea of humans shattered? They thought humans were gentle. They thought we only ate plants. They thought we were harmless. Until one man opened his lunchbox. The smell, the sight, the truth, raw, bloody. In the middle of the alien council hall, every eye turned. Every hand froze. And in that moment, they realized something terrifying. That May Begajan Strantikol, Lulashli. Tenothate Bor, Yawil no. The grand dining hall of the High Council was always filled with light and music. Glass walls showing the curve of the red gas giant below. Long tables covered in silver bowls of bright alien fruits and glowing vegetable dishes. But today, the music had stopped. And so had the talk, 'cause Captain Daniel Reed, the only human on the station, had just walked in carrying a small silver lunchbox. Every alien head turned, eyes of every shape and color locking on him. Daniel walked calmly, his boots clicking against the smooth floor. No rush, no hesitation. His dark blue uniform clean and sharp against the soft gold light of the hall. He sat at the very center of the table, between a tall diplomat with blue skin and thin, trembling fingers, and a heavy-shouldered orange warrior whose eyes never blinked. The council had always believed humans were soft. Farmers, traders, never hunters. Their history books painted Earth as a place of gardens and peace. No claws, no fangs. Nothing that spoke of blood. Daniel rested the lunchbox on the table, his hands slow and steady. The aliens leaned forward without even knowing they were doing it. Curiosity mixed with the faintest touch of fear. A small metallic click broke the silence. The lid opened, and the smell rolled out like an invisible wave. Thick, rich, and unmistakable. Inside lay a single slab of deep red meat, raw glistening under the light. Thin lines of dark blood pooling against the silver bottom of the box. The blue-skinned diplomat's eyes widened. The orange warrior's jaw tightened. Someone down the table whispered, "That's animal flesh." The word spread. Like a cold wind, Daniel didn't look up. He simply reached in and lifted the meat with one hand, letting it hang for a moment in the air. The alien stared as the liquid dripped onto the table, small crimson drops. Against the shining surface, one alien pushed their chair back. Another covered their mouth, and no one spoke again. Daniel's eyes were calm, his mouth almost smiling, like a man who knew exactly what he was doing and exactly what it meant. He set the meat back down, reached for a small silver fork and knife, and began to cut. The sound of the blade sliding through soft flesh made the youngest council member flinch. Daniel's voice was quiet, almost too quiet. On Earth, we hunted before we spoke. We fought before we traded, and we ate what we caught. Green-scaled engineer across from him hissed softly. Food is grown, not killed. Daniel's eyes met his, steady, unblinking. Not where I'm from. In the silence that followed, the aliens felt something they had never felt in this room before. Not from a human. Faint, sharp edge of fear. And something worse. Respect. The silence in the hall was heavy. Even the soft hum of the station seemed far away now. Daniel's fork hovered above the red slice of meat as if he was letting the moment breathe, letting them all watch, letting them think. The council leader. A tall figure with silver skin and a crown of living crystal. Leaned forward slightly, his voice deep but uneasy. "Captain Reed, There are rules of peace on this station. No weapons, no threats, and no consumption of sentience. His last word cracked like thin glass, as if he was not sure if this thing on Daniel's plate counted or not. Daniel's hand did not shake. His voice stayed calm. This isn't sentient. It's food. My food. The green-scaled engineer's throat pulsed as he hissed. Food is grown, not killed. Daniel smiled faintly, but there was no warmth in it. On Earth, not everything that grows is enough to keep you alive. We learned to take from the wild, to fight for what we eat, sometimes against the weather, sometimes against things that wanted to eat us back. A low murmur spread around the table. The blue-skinned diplomat folded her arms tightly. Humans. Kill for food. Daniel looked at her for a long second, and then spoke slowly. We kill. For survival. For our families. And when necessary, for war. The orange warrior beside him shifted in his chair, his muscles tense. War, he said, almost tasting the word. Daniel glanced at him. If you can kill for food, you can kill for war. We just learned to choose when to do which. The crystal-crowned leader's hands curled on the table, his tone sharper now. Are you saying humans still hunt? Daniel's gaze did not waver. Not just still. It's in us. Always. The youngest alien, on the far end of the table, leaned forward without meaning to. Their large violet eyes wide. What did you hunt? Daniel's smile returned. But this time it was colder. Everything that thought it could hunt us. And before anyone could speak, Daniel cut another piece of meat. Raised it to his mouth and bit down. The sound of tearing flesh was small, but in the quiet hall, it was deafening. A single drop of red rolled down his chin before he wiped it away with the back of his hand. Somewhere far below, through the glass floor, the storms of the gas giant boiled endlessly. And in that moment, it seemed less dangerous than the man sitting at their table. The green-scaled engineer finally broke the stillness, his voice sharp and almost shaking. You bring this meat here? In our hall in front of the council. Is it a challenge? Daniel's eyes lifted from his plate, slow and deliberate. No, it's a truth you've forgotten, and I'm here to remind you. The engineer's tail thumped against the chair. Remind us of what? Daniel leaned forward just enough to make every alien feel the weight in his voice. That peace is not your birthright. It's a choice. It's a fragile one. The orange warrior's chair scraped against the floor as he stood, his heavy frame casting a shadow across the table. Words are easy. Want to see fight? This human hunts, as he claims. The crystal-crowned leader raised a hand in warning. The warrior's eyes stayed locked on Daniel. We have training domes. Simulations that test even the best of our fighters. You say you kill? Predators. Prove it. Daniel set his fork down gently, wiped his mouth with the edge of a napkin, stood. The room's air felt thicker now, as if the entire hall was holding its breath. All right, he said softly. But understand something. I don't play for sport. I play to win. Whispers rippled around the table, some of fear, some of curiosity. The young violet-eyed alien watched Daniel with something closer to awe than alarm. If you fight, will you kill? Daniel's lips curled into that same unsettling smile. In the dome, nothing truly dies, but they will feel like they did. The crystal-crowned leader finally nodded once. It's very well. The dome it is, we will all watch. And then we will know what humans truly are. The council members rose from their seats, their robes and armor shifting in the soft light. Daniel picked up his lunchbox, closed the lid with a click, and carried it out, as if the whole event had been nothing more than a calm meal. But behind him, the whispers followed. Predator, hunter, dangerous. And for the first time since humans had joined the council, no one dared to call them harmless. The training dome was a hollow sphere of light and shadow, its walls alive with shifting projections of alien landscapes. Deserts that burned, oceans that roared, jungles so thick the air itself looked heavy, above a viewing platform. Circled the dome, already crowded with council members, guards, and curious onlookers. Whispers bounced through the chamber like small sparks before a storm. Daniel stepped into the center of the dome. No armor, no heavy weapons. Only the sleek, dark blue uniform he always wore. The Orange Warrior entered after him, carrying a control panel. His voice carried over the hum of the machines. We will choose a predator from our archives, one that has tested and killed the best of us. If you can bring it down, human, then your words will hold weight. Daniel's gaze never left the warrior. Just make sure it's something worth my time. A flicker of light rolled across the dome. The floor shifted, rippling, into tall grass and black earth. The air grew warmer, heavy with a faint smell of rot. From the far side, a shadow emerged. 10 feet tall, armored hide glinting in the artificial sunlight, jaws lined with jagged teeth, each the length of a man's finger, eyes glowing with cold hunger. The council gasped. Some stepped back from the viewing rail. The predator let out a low, rumbling growl. And then silence. Daniel didn't draw a blade, didn't even raise his hands. He simply began to circle, slow, steady. Eyes locked on the creature as if measuring the space between breaths. The alien beast twitched, confused by the lack of fear. On the platform, the young violet-eyed alien leaned forward. He's not attacking, the blue-skinned diplomat whispered back. No, he's hunting. The predator moved first, lunging with enough force to make the ground tremble. Daniel didn't step back. He stepped sideways, letting the claws tear into empty earth. His movements were sharp but quiet. Like someone who had done this before. Too many times, he let the creature come again. And again, each time giving it nothing but air. From above, the green-scaled engineer frowned. He's tiring it out. The Orange Warrior crossed his arms. He's playing with it, and down below. Daniel's expression never changed. Calm. Calculating. Waiting for the exact moment when the predator's breath grew heavy and its muscles slowed. And then, he moved. In a blur so fast the crowd almost missed it. Daniel closed the distance, his hand catching the thick ridge along the predator's neck as his weight shifted low. The creature roared, its massive head snapping toward him, but he was already inside its reach. His other hand drove forward, not with a weapon, but with a sharpened piece of its own broken armor he had ripped from the ground moments before. Shards slid between the plates at the base of its throat. The sound was wet, sharp, final. The predator's legs buckled. Its jaws gaped in one last silent snarl before its weight crashed into the earth. Around them, the dome went silent. The only sound was Daniel's breathing, steady, controlled. He stood over the body, pulling the shard free, letting the thick, dark fluid drip to the dirt. And then, without ceremony, he dropped the piece of bone beside the fallen beast. On the platform, the green-scaled engineer swallowed hard. Blue-skinned diplomat's eyes had widened in something between shock and respect. The Orange Warrior's lips curled into a slow grin. The human is dangerous. Daniel glanced up at the crowd. His voice carried clear and low. On Earth, we don't fight because it's fun. We fight because if we don't, we die. He stepped away from the body, the simulated grass folding under his boots. And now you understand that even without your rules, without your weapons, we will survive and we will win. A long moment passed, and then the crystal-crowned leader rose to his feet. End the simulation. The predator's body dissolved into light. The grass faded, and the smooth white floor returned. Daniel walked toward the exit, passing under the eyes of every alien above. The young violet-eyed alien whispered to no one in particular. He hunted it like it was nothing. And somewhere deep inside, the hearts of those watching, the idea of humans had just changed forever. The council chamber was quieter than usual when Daniel entered. No music, no chatter, only the slow hum of the air systems. The crystal-crowned leader sat at the head of the long black table, the other members arranged like carved statues around him. Their eyes followed Daniel as he walked to the center. Captain Reed. The leader's voice was calm, but there was weight in it. "We have seen your demonstration. Now tell us. Why did you bring animal flesh into our hall?" Daniel stopped just short of the table, his hands behind his back. "Because you needed to remember something." The green-scaled engineer leaned forward sharply. "Remember? You humiliated the council. You frightened our people." Daniel met his gaze without flinching. "Good, you should be frightened." The blue-skinned diplomat's voice was tight, almost defensive. "Is this how humans make friends? By threats?" Daniel's lips twitched into the faintest smile. "No, this is how humans make sure their friends stay alive." Let the words hang for a moment before continuing. "You've lived so long in peace. You've forgotten what it cost to keep it. You believe no one would dare to take it from you, and that is the most dangerous lie in the galaxy." Crystal Crown Leader's eyes narrowed. "You are saying peace cannot last?" Daniel's voice stayed level. "I'm saying peace only lasts when the predators know you can bite back. And you've built your walls so high, you've forgotten how to fight outside them." Orange Warrior let out a low laugh, though it didn't reach his eyes. "So the stake, the hunt, it was all a lesson." Daniel nodded once. "A reminder, not to me, but to all of you, because out there, beyond your borders, there are things that will not care for your treaties or your rules. And when they come, they won't find you ready." A heavy silence settled in the room, the kind that came when words cut deeper than any weapon. The violet-eyed alien leaned toward the leader and whispered, "I believe him." Crystal-crowned leader didn't speak right away. His gaze stayed fixed on Daniel, as if trying to decide whether the human was a warning, or a threat, or both. The crystal-crowned leader's voice broke the stillness. "You speak of predators beyond our borders, the dangers greater than we imagine. Words are one thing, but proof is another. What kind of proof do you want?" The leader's eyes narrowed. "Show us. Show us what humans have faced and survived." The green-scaled engineer scoffed. "Probably beasts no larger than a child." The Orange Warrior gave him a sharp glance. "After what I saw in the dome, I doubt it." Daniel reached for the small device strapped to his wrist. His thumb brushed a control, and a thin beam of blue light shot upward. The air above the table shimmered and then came to life. First, the image of an endless snowy plain, wind howling across the white emptiness. And there, moving through the storm, came a shape. Taller than two men, tusks like curved spears, fur bristling against the cold, the mammoth. Daniel's voice was calm. "We hunted these for food and shelter. They were strong, but not stronger than hunger." The scene shifted to a dense green jungle, alive with the sounds of hidden creatures. A shadow slipped through the trees, low, fast, silent. Then it burst into view, a striped predator with jaws wide enough to crush bone. The tiger, patient, clever, built to kill in silence. Yet we learned to follow its trails and end them. The final image made even the council. Leader leaned back, dark stormy ocean, waves rising like walls. Something broke the surface, massive, ancient, its head alone bigger than a small ship. Rows of teeth glinting in the lightning, the megalodon. A hunter older than most of your worlds. We took to the seas knowing they waited beneath. We came back alive. The images faded, leaving only the faint blue glow of the projector. Daniel looked at each of them in turn. "So when you tell me you believe in peace, understand, my people know peace too. But we earned it with blood, and we keep it the same way." No one spoke for a long moment. The blue-skinned diplomat's hands tightened on the table. The violet-eyed alien's gaze was locked on Daniel, as if he were seeing him for the first time, and somewhere deep in the leader's expression, a shadow of respect had begun to grow. The chamber stayed silent after the last image faded, the weight of Daniel's words still hanging in the air like a storm cloud. Crystal-crowned leader's gaze moved slowly from one council member to the next, searching their faces for fear, or doubt, or resolve. Finally he rose, his voice low, but steady. "The council has seen enough. The humans will remain among us as allies, not because we think you are harmless, but because, now we know, you are not. A ripple of whispers moved through the room, some in agreement, others uneasy. The green-scaled engineer looked away, unwilling to meet Daniel's eyes. The blue-skinned diplomat sat very still, her expression unreadable. The orange warrior gave a slow, deliberate nod, a silent mark of respect. Daniel didn't smile. He only straightened, his hands clasped loosely behind his back. Then you understand what that means. The violetite alien tilted their head. And what does it mean, Captain Reed? Daniel's answer was quiet, but it carried to every corner of the chamber. It means, when the day comes that something hungry comes knocking at your door, you won't have to fight it alone. But if you ever forget why we're here, if you ever think peace is free, you'll remember the man who opened his lunchbox. And without another word, he turned and walked out of the chamber, the door sliding shut behind him with a sound that seemed to echo far longer than it should. Above the station, the red storms of the gas giant swirled endlessly. Somewhere in the shadows beyond its orbit, something else watched, waiting.